So that's on my home. So when me been a suffer, nobody not been a fight for we. Now everybody want a piece, so we start to reach the symbol and where before them bring action to find a help for we. We know how that fill up their minds, you see. And how that make them a rival way. Me just wish them could have seen all of the years they been a suffer like that. Me say forever, forever and ever. A secret boy my own, a secret boy my own. From the islands and rivers and mountains surrounding, the love in my heart is resounding. I'm loving Guyana, my country, but a secret boy is forever my own. Remember childhood days, the by the riverside and laugh and play. The black water when I learned to swim back then, still living in my memories. Always try live good with neighbors. From them cry we have for assistance. And when we didn't have much, everybody liked us. That's why we don't believe that. When we see it on the media, yo, them coulda tried claim peace of my land. When me never see none of them when struggle, me not go on, yo, what kind of leader? Fight down poor people for land where them grow up on. Most generous people in the world. From anyone knocked, we are open with doors. But forever, forever and ever, a secret boy is my own. A secret boy is my own, yeah. From the islands and rivers and mountains surrounding, the love in my heart is resounding. I'm loving Guyana, my country, but a secret boy is forever my own. Forever my own. A secret boy is my own. Secret boy is my own. Yeah. So forever, forever, forever. A secret boy is forever my own.
Yo, no way, where PNC, no way, no way, AFC, not again, with the same trickery, no way, PNC and AFC. Election thief is all them know, like how Aint Giving Up. Contracts gone to she own company, this country can't take it no more, oh no. Just like how the Russians vanish, like the SOP, gone in a flash. Patterson they smiling on TV, talking sweet while cutting deal easy, giving contracts like it's nothing real, saying scale at work, but what's the deal? Up to now, no scale in sight. Sherrod disappearing at the night. 5 million gone from Chronicle, like it take with funds and ride a miracle. No way, no BNC, no way, no way AFC, not again with the same trickery. No way PNC and AFC. Election thief is all them know, like how Aint Giving Up. Them run we try but still want more. We tired now, we can't take no more. 5 years of them run this place, bring nothing but shame and disgrace. Corruption full up in every case, and tax raise up at a wicked pace. Tax and school, tax and light, water bill giving granny fright. Even the jackass can't get tax, them not care about poor man's back. Now them come back with team sanctioned gold smuggle and tax evasion action. 10,000 kilo them can't explain, and 50 mil gone down the drain. PNC and AOC no credibility, them play games with weak stability. Only one position for themselves, don't care about we ask nothing about the blank checks. Nigel business with eggs and well set. Election thief is all them know, but Guyana don't wait and know we grow. No way, no way PNC, no way, no way AFC, not again with the same trickery. No way PNC and AFC. The whole world know. Yo, no way, where PNC, no way, no way AFC, not again with the same trickery. No way PNC and AFC. Election thief is all them know, like how Aint thief is all them know. Like how Auntie Cathy giving blow. Contracts gone to she own company. This country can't take it no more. Oh no. Just like how the Russians vanish. Like the SOP gone in a flash. Patterson they smiling on TV. Talking sweet while cutting deal easy. Giving contracts like it's nothing real. Saying scale at work, but what's the deal? Up to now, no scale in sight. Sherrod disappearing at the night. 5 million gone from Chronicle. Like it take with funds and ride a miracle. No way, no BNC, no way, no way AFC. Not again with the same trickery. No way PNC and AFC. Election thief is all them know. Like how Auntie Cathy giving blow. Them run we try but still want more. We tired now, we can't take no more. 5 years of them run this place. Bring nothing but shame and disgrace. Corruption full up in every case. And tax raise up at a wicked pace. Tax on school, tax on light. Water bill giving granny fright. Even the jackass can't get tax. Them not care about poor man's back. Now them come back with team sanctioned. Gold smuggle and tax evasion action. 10,000 kilo them can't explain. And 50 mil gone down the drain. PNC and AOC no credibility. Them play games with weak stability. Only one position for themselves. Don't care about we ask. Nothing about the blank checks. Nigel business with eggs and well set. Election thief is all them know. But Guyana done wait and know we grow. No way, no way PNC, no way, no way AFC. Not again with the same trickery. No way PNC and AFC. The whole world know.
We are a peaceful people, struggle as we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We're gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow, but never break. Our fathers came here, and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere, make no mistake. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass.
We love the open county of the Rupununi and the Essequibo, daytime or night. Though we may criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we need to keep it. We have that right.
There's another episode. And through it all, we have to hold on. Face your fears and fight no matter how long. Solid, chatty with the heavy load. Don't panic, cause every day's another episode. And through it all, we have to hold on. Face your fears.
Wake up, the day is bright and I feel the blue. Turn your dial for your vibe, we're ready to go. With Courdel Jones, you know it's gonna be real. From 8 to 9, bringing vibes you can feel. News, and what's hot today. We'll keep you wide in every way. Livewire, tune in and feel the spark. Every morning, lighting up your heart. Courdel's here, bringing life Monday to Friday, we're paving the way. Wake up, the day is bright, time to feel the flow. Turn your dial to Livewire, we're ready to go. With Courdel Jones, you know it's gonna be real. From 8 to 9, from 8 to 9, bringing vibes you can feel. News, views, and what's hot today. We'll keep you wired in every way. We'll keep you wired every way. In every way. Livewire, so in and feel the spark. Every morning lighting up your heart. Courdel's here, bringing life to your day. Monday to Friday, we're paving the way. Stories that matter, we got the scoop. From the latest headlines to the local truth. It's your community, your voice, your power. Livewire hits you every hour. So grab your coffee, your tea, your toast. With Courdel Jones, we'll give you the most. Livewire, we'll give you the way. Running to the energy, the beat of the street, the show that connects. It's where people meet. We're wired to your world, we got the news. On Livewire, there's nothing to lose. Livewire, turning the feel the spot. Every morning lighting up your heart. Courdel's here, bringing life to your day. Monday to Friday, we're paving the way. Livewire, tune in and feel the spark. Every morning lighting up your heart.
Good morning to you and welcome to another episode of Livewire with yours truly, Courdel Jones. Happy to be here with you for yet another episode. We are... Oh. What is it? Oh my God. Sorry, one of my colleagues from the newsroom sent me a video. Sorry about that. Morning, guys. Welcome to the show. Really happy to have you here. It's the 23rd of April, 2025. Morning to all the persons joining us across the diaspora. Morning to all the persons joining us across the 10 administrative regions. Special good morning to all the persons joining us in the comment section. Really happy to have you guys here for yet another episode. We're going to... Paul, sing in the comments, use trouble. We're going to be talking with Lennox Gasper this morning and on quite a few topics in relation to Linden in Region 10 there. A lot has been happening in that area, and we'll hone in on some of the events and how they have unfolded and what's the way forward, right? And we'll begin with that community that is still in recovery, still in reflection, and still pushing forward. Over the past few weeks, the town has faced some tough moments. The heartbreaking loss of 2 young men has left a scar, not just on the families, but on the collective spirit of that community. And in the aftermath, we've seen unrest, pain, and more questions and action, I must say, by the administration in relation to bringing some sort of relief to those grieving families. Today, we'll be talking with somebody who is actually on the ground, a Lindener himself, to get a better perspective on how that town is coming back together. We'll also be talking a little bit about the Gear Up for Town Week 2025. The council has made headlines suspending several events due to regulatory concerns, calling on promoters to formalize their plans and dealing with venue challenges like unexpected closures of the Egbert Benjamin Center. We'll be able to talk to the town clerk to see what's the way forward in relation to some of these developments. We'll also tackle one of the biggest financial shakeups on the horizon. Now, as you know, President Ali would have announced that all bridges, including the Wismar-Mackenzie Bridge, will be toll-free by August 1, 2025. Great news for commuters, but what does it mean for the regular person, right? Not the business owner who, has the money to cross the bridge or pay the prices that were there, but the regular person, the person who might taking a taxi to work, and this may cause a reduction in their fare. Um, the regular Joe driving probably his first car to work, a second-hand car, that may be causing him some problems, and some of that toll money could go to some repairs to that vehicle. You understand? So again, we'll be talking to Lennox. He signed back. Okay, good. I see him moving. He did disappear there just now. Guys, so help me welcome on screen Town Clerk for the Linden Municipality, Mr. Lennox Gasper. Good morning to you, Chief. Welcome back to the program. We didn't have you for a while.
Good morning.
You've been busy.
Good morning, Courdel, and good morning to your viewers. Thank you for having me here on your program. And yes, the work of a town clerk is very busy, so I have been busy. But it's always a pleasure to be able to bring yourself and the viewing audience up to date with what's happening in and around Linden and Region 10 as a whole.
Right. Now, sadly, we look at this here first. Now, the community was recently deeply affected by the tragic loss of two young men. This caused unrest in that community. How is the community healing? And from the council standpoint, what steps are being taken to support the recovery and to restore unity in that community?
All right. Well, what I can say, it really was unfortunate what would have transpired. And I really give thanks to the quick action of the government. His Excellency visited outside of efforts by the police here to bring some kind of a calm. His Excellency would have come in and had talks with the family. And, there was that understanding that, we are there to support, and we will ensure that those responsible face the full brunt of the law. And so they were more or less, to a great extent, put to rest. The funeral expenses were also handled by government. They would have received some support, great support, with the funeral expenses and also the wake. There is also a commitment to ensure that things are put in place to take care of the close relatives and like the mother, the children mother, and so on. So they would have gotten that commitment. Also, the investigation, I understand, based on the police information, that it was completed, and they would have submitted, I think if they're not as yet, it is to be submitted to the DPP to for their decision as it relates to bringing or starting the commission of inquiry and what have you, right, to be able to bring criminal charges. So be the case. So we are moving in that direction. I know from the council's perspective, soon after His Excellency visited and had talks with the family, we moved towards clearing the roadway for the Four Corner area, the main roadway area, and those residents within the Buckville area, I think they would have done some additional cleaning in terms of for the wake and so on to clear the area at the back there. So we are moving and healing. The process is slow, but there are some progress. The from the municipal aspect, we are continuing to call for persons to, allow the law to take its course, allow for the process to be ironed out or to take full action, and that we are continuing to call for the peace. We are continuing to encourage persons, there is not what do we gain when we injure public infrastructure, or we injure ourselves when we damage public infrastructure, when we damage public properties and so on. And therefore, we've got to ensure that we vent our anger in a different way. But it's a process. Everyone will do things differently, but it's a process, and we are working. We continue to talk with residents of the community, friends and family of the deceased. I am happy, persons with great restraint. The funeral went reasonable. I noticed on some live they were a brief interaction again with the police.
Right.
However, thankfully that was also quiet down, and today those um, fellas are resting, you know, in peace, and the family are, as well as the entire community, are slowly healing and coming together again. So we continue to call for the unity, we continue to call for the peace, and we continue to pray for the healing of all.
Before I move on, I want to ask your opinion on something. Whilst this unrest was happening, they had several political actors, persons not even from that community, not even from the region originally or part-time or anything like that, descended on that community. And it's what it some might say would have incited some of the youngsters in that community to escalate the situation a little more than it would have already been escalated. As a Lindoner yourself, somebody who was born and bred there, how do you feel about these persons coming to your community and capturing the emotions of the young people and probably inciting them to do things that may not be in their best interest?
That again, Cordell, is very unfortunate and disappointing. I oftentimes say leadership is not uh, power and position. It is about action. It's what you do. It is what you do in the right timing. And I did not see leadership. I don't want my words to, you know, set anyone on ease, or disturb person. But sometimes when you have to face the truth, it makes some people very much uncomfortable. And so leadership was needed and necessary in the situation at the time. And it all would have come back to the right word, how you speak to the people. Surprisingly, when I heard Mr. Nigel Hughes spoke at the funeral, I was appalled at the words, do not accept the investigation from the RSS. Do not accept, what was the other thing? Any investigation or anything from the police. And government must settle to start 100,000 per family to start. And I'm asking myself, from a leadership perspective, here is someone vying for as a presidential candidate. And as I would have mentioned earlier, before the funeral, after the visit by His Excellency, I put it in my analogy where it's like the wound that was banded up to ease the bleeding. But I said, when it's the funeral, it's like the bandage gonna be coming off, the wounds got to be clean, and then to be banded again. And here it is, someone packing salt in the wound. And I am like, oh my God, why would this leader take this kind of an approach? And that, in my estimation, was very disappointing. And the words that came out was it is not words of healing. It's not words of wanting to move forward. Because at the end of the day, they're here is His Excellency talking with the family prior to this. So
Right.
you come into a funeral and saying, we're going to work with you. We're going to put systems in place, not just for the funeral, but for moving forward, the family. We're going to see what is possible, whether it's the job for, to help out the mother, to work with the aunt, to assist the children, mother, and the children themselves to ensure that something is put in place for a long term. And
Right.
here is a weak leader with a poor vision that can come and say, oh, it's our money and it's we money, and we can start with 100,000, you know, for
100,000 or 100
family.
million?
No, sorry, 100 million. Sorry, 100 million. And
Yeah.
I am like, what is happening? What really is going on in the head of this leader? And, you know, well, as you would have asked the question with the other leaders, we had the deputy mayor, we had the vice chairman, we would have had the mayor also. Well, you know, as usual, he would,
Let us. I want to
in my
hear about all
opinion,
of them. I just want to hear about one thing, because it's basically this I was coming to. As a leader in Linden, share your thoughts on the mayor's reaction to the president's meeting with the family and greeting persons as he came in. Do you feel as leaders there should be some time where we approach things in a bipartisan manner, especially something like this where a whole community is affected?
well, I agree with how you put it there at the end of your question, to be able to have that bipartisan approach, but that will be reflective, or the action that we see is reflective of the thought process of the individual, right? If you come to the table with the intention for us to find a way forward, for us to bring calm and have a solution, then your action will follow what your thought process is. But because you want to find relevance, because you want to find something to maybe as a comeback to bring you back into prominence, then you come with this resistance. You come from a position as, okay, so we're prepared now. Let me hear what you got to come with, and you're already rejecting it mentally. So right away, your actions follow just what you are thinking. And the mayor is an individual. He will do things based on his style. But I would hope that he would maybe consider to change that approach. This is 2025, and so in any discussion, in any negotiation, in any meeting, when you come to the table, you have a voice at the table. But at the table, it doesn't mean that everything that you come with to the table is going to be acted on or you're going to have.
Right.
So you've got to be able to consider and negotiate and be willing to give up something and to accept something else, you know, and also to compromise. And that's what was needed to be able to bring that healing. Instead, we got some of the similar reaction that we would have seen from the AFC leader in terms of, oh, do not accept this and do not accept that, and you have nothing to lose. You know, those were statements, those were reactions that you got. It was like more an aggressive, antagonistic approach rather than a receptive, open-minded, solution-oriented approach.
Yeah. No,
and that was disappointing for me.
Right. So before we move on, I just want some clarity on one last issue in Linden that we heard of all across Guyana. So there was a fire in some wood pit. Could you give us an update on that? Is that out? Is it still going on? I know the Ministry of Public Works has been assisting along with the Guyana Fire Service working on getting the fire out. Give us an update with that. I think GDF was involved as well with their helicopter. You know, give us an update.
Yeah, we had the GDF, we had the EPA, we had the fire station, we had all involved. The minister also came up, Minister Edgell. That fire basically is what? We have like over 30 years of sawmill waste was actually being dumped in that area. And I guess layer upon layer, if you know and understand how the sawdust operates, at least for those people who use sawdust and shavings, wood shavings with foul pen when you're doing the rearing of these poultry, you would put that for the warmth. It carries its own heat. And so, of course, after all these years of dumping and piling one and the other, then it developed its own heat, and that would actually start burning from the bottom. We were told that there would have been methane gas that would have also developed there, and there was an explosion before the fire at one of the gas stations. So, I mean, the efforts were made to control and also to reduce environmental impact because we were told that it had to burn out. It had to spend the time to burn out, and it probably would have needed like a week or two. So that will burn down, and I guess the process would start over. But we're hoping to put systems in place to manage the how the sawmill waste are being done or managed. So yes, we would have had discussion with them. The minister also had discussion with those sawmillers, and to a great extent, I know we had the GDF helicopter doing some. That was the last set of action I would have recalled happening, where they were dipping the water and throwing it with the helicopter, the assistance of the helicopter, and that would have also greatly reduced, because we had to ensure that the smoke and all of that don't affect those residents close by. Right. So yeah, there were some quick action thanks to the EPA, the Defense Force, the fire station, the Minister of Government, and the other local leaders. Yes, and it is in a great way contained and controlled. I haven't been there for the past few days, so I'm not able to say whether it is like totally out or if it's still burning. Right? Yeah, but I know from the Defense Force last action in terms of having the water being thrown with the helicopter there, that would have brought also a great relief for residents close by.
Yeah. Now, moving on, Gaspar, the council would have, in a recent press release, would have announced suspensions of several activities due to regulatory issues, and urge through that release or prior, urge the promoters of the 2025 Tongue Week activities to formalize their events, pay the council for approval. Walk us through what led to this decision and how are things progressing in this regard?
All right, let's take the first part. What led to us having to move to that temporary suspension for persons to get in or fall in line, as I would say. Early up, we would have had our statutory meeting where the issue of Tongue Week was raised, and also motions were moved to have the Tongue Week being launched, to have the committee being formulated, and all the such like. And I recall at that meeting where from the coming out from the admin meeting that we would have officers, the administrative officers and staff would have expressed that since they were not paid for 2024, they will have no part in the Tongue Week. But that is not to say that we will not be doing our work. And so we needed to ensure that the process were followed, but just that extra time and extra effort and all of that will not be put into what was happening since persons were not paid. And we went through this on a previous program. What were some of the reasons? Now, of the 32 stuff that was requests that were submitted for payment, I would have approved almost 10 or a little more than 10, but the councillors refused to countersign because they want me to approve all. They were those that had financial irregularities and stuff that needed to be sorted out, but they want me to approve everything. And so on that grounds, they refused to sign anything that relates to that. And so that is why staff were not paid. They took that statement to mean that, okay, administration don't want no part. And again, just like in 2024, this year, the council, well, the mayor and his councillors, a few of them, decided that they were moving ahead with the tongue week. They did their letters. They would have given promoters letters signed by the mayor, giving approval. Now, this is a violation because the mayor is without authority to be able to sign. When it comes to signing and giving approval, certifying anything of that nature, the mayor does not possess that authority or power. The clerk has to do that to ensure transparency, to ensure that persons follow the regulations and to pay whatever fees, charges, fines, revenue that they have to do, and be able to give account for those, approvals and those actions and events and businesses and all these things. Right. So when I learned that the mayor would have went forward to do that, and persons would have gone to EPA, GRA, the police, the fire station, which are other authorizing agencies, to be able to move their program forward, I recognize that there would be a serious blunder as it relates to the flaunting of the law and the breach in terms of our regulations. Just like the GRA has its mandate to protect the revenue of the country, the local municipality have that responsibility to protect the revenue of the local authority, the municipality in this local, in this town. And so to be able to do that, to deviate from that, is a violation. It is, right? And so I would have been able to call those persons together, have a meeting with them, and the decision was, okay, this is what we'll do, because some of them did not know that they had to ensure they see the endorsement of the clerk's stamp. So even though the mayor signed as because the tongue week is done out of the mayor's office, but again, that is ceremonial. So even though he signs on the letter, the clerk has to stamp and sign that letter to endorsing it. So the clerk would normally have a copy of these things in file so that we know, we are in the know of what comes in, what goes out, who is sponsors, who are not, whatever happens. Now, mind you, it has been brought to my attention that persons would have made payments as a form of donation. Okay? As a form of donation, but that donation was not yet disclosed to me, of which I will be writing the mayor's office. And those persons now would have had to come in to correct themselves and pay again. And so I would have explained to them, look, even to donation gifts, anything that comes into the council must pass through the clerk, must pass through the system, because we have to call accountability. I said, you would have given this and you would have been told that, okay, this will go towards essay writing or the poetry, whatever, for the children. I said, but you give it to an individual. How are you sure it will reach what it is said to be given for? Yeah. The person's like, oh, we didn't look at it like that. I said, and I can guarantee you a list will come to me asking for payment for either trophy or what have you, when I'm now with the information that persons would have given gifts and donations and what have you, but it was not disclosed. And this is the same thing that would have transpired last year. But because persons are not willing to come forward, because people say things like, oh, I don't want to be victimized, Lennon is a small tongue, and so, that's why you can't pursue anything. You got to know, just allow it as information and leave it at that. So that's where we were. And so they decided to go that way, and we would have had the meeting and made that decision, hence the publication of that notice, that press release. And we had some persons came in yesterday. We're hoping to have some more come in today. Let me say that the persons for the pageant, they would have come in and paid. A couple of others came in and made a payment. I know on one of my program I did mention that, and I call out a couple of them that did not pay, but they're coming in. All right. So I'm happy that they are doing that. I have no personal grudge or anything with anyone. I'm just holding on the principle. I'm not standing in the way of Tongue Week. Tongue Week have to happen. It is the Tongue's birthday, the 55th anniversary, and we want to have that unified approach. And given the theme, one people, one nation, Linden, the heart of Guyana, and then we're not seeing that unity coming from the council. So I am asking and pleading that the mayor and councillors will let 2025 and if possible 2026 be different. Let us work together, follow the principle, follow the law, and let us make sure that everything is done transparently. As we speak, Courdel, I don't know who are the persons that I know who are the persons that they're sending letters to for donation. Even to those letters, the administrative arm of the council. But things are being done in isolation, and it should not be. What is there? What is it that you have to hide? What is there? If you are transparent, if your hands are clean, then why do you need to give this perception that you're doing anything shady, right? I haven't even seen Sunday supposed to be the grand opening for the Tongue Week. I haven't seen the program. I don't know if any minister was invited. I don't know.
You know if you get invited? You study the minister? You know if you get invited?
I did not receive an invitation up to now. And so, but it's being planned. Today, hopefully, we're supposed to have a continuation or a follow-up on the meeting that we had before with the stakeholders. And at 1 o'clock today, we're supposed to have a follow-up on that meeting. I'm to be given the layout and the sketch for those persons who would be vending, that they can be able to have their spots allotted to them. But we're trying to push the process forward and help persons along the way. Those persons who would have gotten the letter before from the mayor, and they would have gone, a good way with their process. I'm not basically allowing them to go back over that process. I'm asking them to bring the same letter that you would have gotten. Let us stamp and endorse it. Let us make sure you pay, and we will attach your receipt to that letter, and you can then go forward, continue your process, so that we don't hold anything back. So I want persons to hear me lucidly clear here on this one. We are helping the process to move forward. We're not allowing you to reinvent the wheel. So if you would have gotten a letter from the mayor without the stamp and signature of the clerk, all right, the endorsement of the clerk, bring the letter that you have, go into the mayor's secretary, they will do a receipt for you. You will go and pay the administration, the cashier, and then come with that receipt to the clerk's office. I will stamp and sign that letter, and you can take it back now to the magistrate court or to the police station to get your final forward movement.
Right. Now, I want to jump over to the Egbert Benjamin Center. Now, this center has been closed, and the center is a venue that is usually used for the Tongue Week activities. Talk to us about what led to the closure, and how is the council dealing with addressing this issue, given the importance of the celebration, the Tongue Week celebrations?
All right. So what would have happened shortly after my appointment, there were some committees that were established for places like Egbert Benjamin Center and a couple of other centers that are under the management of the municipality. However, I would have inquired whether the process were followed to the T, to the letter, as it relates to the appointment of these committees. And based on the information that I would have gathered, it was not. And so, to ensure impartiality, to ensure fairness and balance as it relates to the appointment of these persons to these committees, I was asking that we walk back the process. Let's review, let's have the name
I think somebody trying to call him on his phone. That's why he bouncing in and out.
Ensure that things are done transparently. Bring the old committee and the new committee handed over and what is being taken over, right? Everybody, the councillors at the time were against the appointment of the clerk, and so that would have had some kind of a held back or stand back. So since councillors were not having their way with the new committee, at another committee meeting, one of the social committee meeting, it was Councillor Kissoon, who I believed it was more or less out of emotion, irrational response, where she, being the chair of the meeting, said, you know, we've been asking for this committee, we've been asking for this and that, and the Egbert Benjamin is not being managed properly, and what. She would have raised her concern. And then she blurted, Egbert Benjamin must close with immediate effect. I was shocked. Truly speaking, I was shocked. And I was like, Councillor, you sure what you're asking? Egbert Benjamin has programs that it operates with weekly. They have weddings. They have some people would go and use it for wake. It's active. Things are happening there. How could you move to just saying it must be closed with immediate effect? And they were making that as a decision in that committee meeting. And I said, you know, this can't be a decision of just a few in this committee meeting. This has got to be a recommendation to full council, because full council need to give their sanction on it. We need to hear other voices commenting on this decision here, this course of action, because I think it is irrational. It is without proper, thought being put into it and considering all the implications and all of that. And it meant putting people out of job, because two persons, the security guard and the young lady that run the office every day, was put out of a job. So they made the decision now at the March statutory meeting, because it went as a recommendation, and the mayor shared the same sentiment of the councillor and decided that it must be closed with immediate effect. And to tell you the truth, I understood the impact at the time, but I decided we got to act, because as they keep saying, the clerk have to execute the decision of council. And so I did make attempt to speak with the management committee. I asked for them to come in and let us talk, because I was prepared to do some more representation for them. However, that fell through. They did not show up. And so I said, I have to act and move into the direction of closing it. And I did send to the management committee to come and have their personal things, if anybody have any personal thing in the office, to have it removed, to be able to get a report. Up to now, they haven't submitted that report. The management committee, they have not submitted that report up to now that I've asked for with the closure, so that I know all that was left, all that the expenses that we have out and all of that, and all the people that we had to refund money to up to now. I have not gotten that report. And so the Egbert Benjamin remained closed. We had to refund person for wake. We had to refund person for weddings. We had to refund persons. However, now the mayor, well, not the mayor particularly, but persons are asking if I would consider opening up, just so that these activities, because we got like about 3 activities that is scheduled to be at Egbert Benjamin, 3 to 4 activities. We have the essay writing. I think there is some culinary arts something. Then there is the domino finals competition that was expected. But I would have made known to those persons that they will have to find an alternative venue, because it's not fair for me to have to inconvenience the people who would have paid for their wedding, inconvenience the people who would have paid for their wake, the church folks. They used to get a church operating there. They had weekly service and so on. All of them, they had to remove their stuff. So they were inconvenient, and I must compromise for tongue week. The principle is there. The decision was made by council because they said they want to do assessment and review and what have you. That and so it's closed until that assessment, full assessment report is done. I know they did a visit and they had a walkthrough. So we now will have to meet, councillors and admin officers will have to meet and discuss the way forward. But let me announce on your program, for those persons listening, that the Edward Benjamin Center is closed. So those persons who would be having those functions there, most of them have been notified privately that they will have to have alternative venues for their functions, right? So I know the people for the pageant, they did express that they would normally use one side of the building where the young ladies would dress, and I think they also use the washroom that's close by because the pageant would normally happen at the bandstand, right? However, they can have the porta potty, and they also can have tents where it's more secure right away around for the young ladies to dress. I apologize for the inconvenience, but again, others were inconvenienced too, and this was by a decision of council, not the clerk as it's being peddled. It's a decision of council. The clerk just executed the decision of the council.
Right. Now, Gaspar, there has been, I should say the residents of Linden, they have been anticipating the repairs to the municipal office in the region there. Talk to us a little bit about the progress in relation to that and when the residents will again have full access to the services of the office space there.
There, right. That's a very important question, Courdel. Now, for some time, I think it was mid last year, we had started work on the roof. We had to do over the entire roof. The whole styling had to change because we were getting some leakage and so on. However, when during the repairs, I think I did share on a previous program with you, during the repairs, we had too heavy rainfall and it would have basically flooded the ceiling of the roof. And the ceiling actually would have gotten weak. Those ceiling were plyboards basically. And the electrical work, we got some of the electrical work was damaged too. Nonetheless, we were forced to pull the ceiling down. So while the roof was finished, the construction, everything for the roof was finished, the ceiling was now the problem. And you couldn't put staff back into a building where the ceiling over their head is, you run a risk of the ceiling falling on you. Right. You couldn't do that. And so administration, we had to extend our rental at the offices that we were using temporarily, which is the Linden Enterprise Network. We also occupying annex building, one of the other council's building, but we will be occupying that permanently for buildings and the environmental health department. They will function there permanently. But we're temporarily at LEN, the office of the town clerk, registry, rates and taxes, finance. I hope I didn't miss any other, but we're operating from LEN building. The mayor's office, they would have relocated their operations back to the building, even though the building is not fully ready. I mean, as much as I would try to advise, they don't listen when I advise. So the full operation is not yet at the office. We did get the approval to have the additional works done, but we had some setbacks in procuring the materials. However, in this week, we're given a commitment that the materials will be on the ground. And within a matter of days, the workers are saying they will be able to sort out the ceiling on the inside. And there's some other works that will have to be done in terms of cleaning and preparation. So I will say next month, May month, we like mid-May month, but before the month of May is ended, we'll be back at the main office to be able to handle our operations. As a matter of fact, our rent was paid basically up to this month at the place that we are renting temporarily. So now we will just have to extend that to 1 month more to accommodate May month and to also to accommodate the moving because persons will take time to pack their stuff up and then to move back and to unpack. So by the end of May, yeah, mid-May we can start the process of moving, and by the end of May we should be back in the office and in full operation for residents to visit there. Some persons are still going there, thinking that we are back there. So I apologize for the inconvenience. We are still at Len.
Yeah. Now, since we're talking about the municipal offices, I must ask, salary increases for the municipal staff of 2020 for 2025. Talk to us about that.
Courdel, let me say I'm happy to announce that we did get that increase, and it is with effect from this month. Some of the wages workers are already happy because they've been seeing that increase. Those are the weekly wages. The salary workers, within this week they're supposed to be able to see their salaries, and we were able to deal with the retroactive up to January. We will have to sit and consider later moving it to the different years to accommodate the entire year, and how we're going to go about making the payments to those persons for those increases that were due to them since that period. But we are looking at our revenue. We are looking at expanding our revenue base. We are looking at having the talks. We will be having a review, God's willing, by August, September period to see if we can bring them, because right now they have been brought up to 2022. So these were increased from 2020, 2021, and 2022, just 3 years. So we're still behind, but hopefully in August, September, when we review, we're able to put the 2023 minimum wage and the 2024, which was the 10% that was given the other day in, I think it was December of last, yes. So we've got to be able to bring staff on par. We're working, we're doing our best to make sure that we look at the welfare and well-being of the staff, because they are the reason the wheel is turning, and services, though not to its fullest capacity, not as optimal as I would want it to be, they are keeping the wheel turning, and services are being met to residents of Linden. We are doing our best.
Right. No.
And we had, let me say this, Courdel, Courdel, before you go, the 50 million subvention. The 50 million subvention, let me say this, it would be rather remiss of me if I don't mention. There was an extension by government of, we used to get 18 million for subvention every year, and that has been expanded to $50 million. And we were written to by the ministry to have. Yes, this government.
Wait, so the last government that they love the Lindeners, they do it for even Linden people only?
No.
What's this?
No. Right? As a matter of fact, I think it was moved from 16 to 18 million under the last government, but this government moved it from 18 million to 50 million subvention. And so we are happy for that. We were written to that we need to adjust our subvention budget, and we have been talking with councillors to go into the areas, because the ministry is very specific.
Somebody calling me again.
That it must be centered. All the program and projects and works must be people oriented, and people-centered. We cannot run away from that. Because, I mean, we've been wanting to buy generator, buy vehicles, do a number of other things. And the ministry is saying, how does this impact the people? Fine, right, we hear how it will impact the office, but how does this impact the people? The people need to feel the impact. And so councillors are asked to go back into their constituencies, look at areas of development, submit those proposals, bring it for deliberation, and then final decision. Of course, the approval is at the ministry when it goes down, but I just want for them to focus on the people aspect, the people centered, because this is a people centered government. And so we need to make sure that we keep with that, lest we run a situation where we go further into the year and we don't get to utilize this subvention. All because we want to do our own personal thing.
Yeah. No, as I was saying just now, His Excellency would have announced at August 1, all the bridges with tolls will become free. This would include the Wismar-Mackenzie Bridge.
Sorry about that.
So this move could affect the
That's disturbing me. I don't know if you were hearing me.
Yeah, I know somebody calling you because you go in and out for like about 2 seconds, but we get most of what you're saying.
Yeah, because I'm getting calls. Persons are calling in. Yeah, go ahead.
So with this announcement from the president, this could affect the council's revenue stream. How is the council planning to manage this change and cushion the potential financial impact? Gaspar?
Yes, are you hearing me now?
Hearing you now. Go ahead. You heard me?
Me now?
Gaspar, you gotta get Starlink, man. You gotta get a Starlink, brother.
Very persistent. You hearing me now?
Yeah, it sounded a little better there now.
Yeah, no, it's a call. Call keeps coming in. The call keeps coming in. So that is why we're cutting off. The person is very persistent. Yes.
So with the announcement, how the council plans to cushion and deal with this potential loss of revenue?
Yeah, let me say this, Courdel. No doubt, there will be some loss in revenue, but I can say this. If we do the calculation, the revenue that we would get from the bridge used to be somewhere between $3 to $6 million. Of recent, it would have reached $6 million, right? But it was over the years between that, 3 to 6, 3 to 4 million, 3 to 6 million per month, which would accumulate to the amount per year. But the council has not been implementing a lot of the regulations and enforcing a lot of the regulations and services that we're supposed to do, that we could rake in even more than that without considering raising rates and taxes. And so when the government is trying to reach the ordinary man, as you would have explained in the introduction of your program, the man who cannot afford to pay a bridge toll, to go over the river to come back, is going to benefit. The people, the taxi drivers who usually charge $1,000 to go in Wizrock and $1,500, they now will be forced to drop their prices. We got the tongue cars that would charge $200, $300 to go across the bridge because they got to pay $60. $60 they're paying, but they're charging you $200 per head, $300 per head. Now, nurses, teachers, police officers, all these people now will benefit when they leave work because we're expecting that these drivers, conductors, and all of them be consciable that, okay, I've had a reduction, I don't have to pay bridge, I will drop my fare too. Goods and services must also feel that benefit, feel that, because this is saving monies and putting monies in people's pockets.
Right.
Now, the council, all the council needs to do is to enforce its regulation. First of all, inspections. The environmental health department, there is so much regulation in this town. Through the environmental health department alone, they can rake in more than $3 million a month.
Mm.
You hear me? The environmental. Then we go over to buildings, because time would not permit me to go into all that they normally have to look for. But when you go to buildings and buildings inspection, a lot of buildings are going up around the town without any permission from the council, without any plan drawn, without any approval at all, not even housing. Nobody. People just say, look, I done this land or right thing in here, I gonna show up a structure. All these people can be fined. We talking about fine of 50,000, 100 in excess of 500,000, depending on what the violation is. And once you're diligent with your work, you can be able to bring in. We're talking about construction happening and people mixing cement on the road. We're talking about sand in front of people's yard and encumbering the roadway for weeks, construction materials, and these persons aren't fined. The law says once you have a load of sand, first you have to write the council for permission. Courdel, I bet you didn't know this. You have to write the council.
All I knew
for
was
permission.
they said 24 hours. You have to move it off the road. That's as much as I
Yes.
know.
No, you have to be written. You have to write them first, get permission, and you have 72 hours to have it removed.
Mm.
Yeah. Failure to remove it in the 72 hours, the council can come with the bobcat and the tractor and pick it up and move it. Right? And you will be fined also, again, for that violation. And then you gotta go back and buy your sand. So when we look at these things, Courdel, we can rake in more than that. Then we have the vendors, markets, and all of that. We just need to do our job. I haven't touched raising rates and taxes, nothing of the sort. Because the government's policy is that they're not going to be raising rates and taxes. They're not putting that additional burden on the people.
Right.
Okay? So it's no sense going in that direction. That's the government's policy. That's the government's position. And so once we move into enforcement, trust me, we will definitely, that 6 million, which seems like nothing. But because we have not been doing what we're supposed to do, and collectively, I'm talking here, both administration and policymakers, approaching the people to comply, follow with the law. I can tell you, there is so many persons violating Courdel. It has nothing to do with PPP and PNC, because as far as I'm concerned, once it comes to falling in line and complying, everybody got to do that. I don't play. I said it before on this program when I was a revenue clerk. Even my mother had to pay her revenue. I used to play, brother. Yes, you have to make sure you get that money and pay. And so once we move into that, all these violations, all these people who are building concrete structure on the council's reserve, those persons need to be fined. Those illegal structures need to be demolished. Once you bring that back, trust me, 6 million isn't going to be anything. But we want to keep living as mendicants. We want to keep living where we have our hands out and we live on handouts as though we want to beg. You got to manage. You got to manage. And the council is like a board of trustees, a management board. So you have to run the operation as a shrewd businessman would, is private business. We can get into public-private partnership. We got people who got derelict vehicles all around this town. We could get a scrap yard that is managed and controlled by the council. We don't even impound vehicles. People parking all over the place. They got people who want to do road patching. A young man spoke to me, and I think that's a brilliant idea because we did procure some equipment to do road patching. However, those equipment, they would have had different things that needed to be added. And so you're trying to make the effort to start something and so that it works efficient, but then you realize you have this additional to buy, that more to fix. And by the time you do all these pieces, something else that you had purchased before now gone defective. And you're like, oh, it's like you're never reaching there. A young man came with a brilliant proposal. Said, look, I am going to bring in the truck, the cone, a small compactor, and everything. I would just want to do road patching. Every month, the council could give me a street or how much they want to invest. If it's 2 million, 3 million per month to do patching all around, and I make sure I go and do your assessment and inventory, and your depot work every day, every month, every week.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm like, this is brilliant because the law makes provision for that. Get into public-private partnership and allow for private persons to take that load off of your hands. Now the man don't know. He said, look, all I need is about 6 to 7 workers, 5 laborers, a driver, and a supervisor. And he good. You know? And I'm like, nobody comes.
That takes big picture thinking and or out of the box thinking or having a vision for the future.
Yes, exactly. And so we need the kind of help and support. And once we begin to manage as we should and do proper analysis, proper research, and be very shrewd, trust me, we can be able to make twice that 6 million per month.
Yeah.
Right? Twice if possible, thrice the 6 million a month.
You spoke about the sun earlier, and literally 3 days ago, I can't remember which community I was passing through, and I saw that it was a bit flooded because we're having a lot of rain in Georgetown. So when I came around the corner, it got to be one of them big trucks. There was no regular load of sand, but the sand is there on the parapet. They dump it, it goes into the trench, blocks the trench. Now, mind you, why I was surprised that the area was flooded is because I passed here a few months ago and I saw they had some people doing cleaning of the drains. They were desilting the drains. So I'm like, why this area flooding if the drains clean? So as I come around the corner, there's this big pile of sand. Most of it in the gutter and then on the bridge and on the parapet as well. So that one half completely flooded, and as you pass the sand, I kid you not, Gasper, the rest of the drains in the community low and the place is being drained. So everybody on the left hand side of the sand under pressure.
Yes.
And like, how people can be considerate.
And that is the problem. That is why you have a municipality. That is why you have police, because each of us have our role. Because you will have residents, just as you explained, very inconsiderate. I got my work to do, and so all the other residents before the sun got to suffer because one man brings some 20-ton, 40-ton truck of sand, pour it, block up the drain, block up the street. Maybe he got some, there is a big boyfriend or big name, and he fall on and he sit on the veranda and he watch, y'all try that, y'all figure that one out. Now there is where the city council comes in, and you drop a fine in E. When you drop a fine in E, watch how fast it cleared on. It's not no ordinary fine. You understand? 200,000-300,000.
Let me give you another scenario. In the community of Diamond, I was passing through there. Some guys doing some drainage works there as well. One resident in the middle of the street, he wanted to do concrete drain. The other people, concrete drain don't do. This man put sandbags on both sides of his property, so blocking the water from flowing. But I was like, how you could do? How is so high the sandbags are? Yeah, I telling you, block off the water from flowing. And I'm like, how you could even think about this? So everybody else inconvenient. And mind you, he ain't started construction yet. Or nothing, He just sandbagged the 2 ends and left it. That's what. Before I let you go,
in cases,
I want to ask
in cases like that, the city council need to take him to court. That's how you do that. He gotta go to court And if possible, find and jail.
This NDC.
Yes, go ahead.
People don't reach so far. City council even reaching in their provision, their area. Now,
no.
A lot of developments in the community of Linden ongoing, and we've heard about the administration's plan, the government's plan for the future, and all the things they have planned for Linden. I've recently seen Minister Ramson post the seating arrangements are going in at one of the stadiums there in Linden. What is your message to residents, stakeholders, as we look forward to these developments, Linden Town Week, and just the progress of Guyana as a country? What are you saying to those persons?
All right. So my message here in closing, Courdel, is 55 years we're celebrating with this Town Week as we approach for this weekend. I have seen Linden transformed in the last 5 years like never before. And with the infrastructure that has been going up recently, with the transformational projects that have been happening recently, we need to embrace that progress. We need to ensure that we reach out to government even more to have greater development. We find we need to put more on our leaders to ensure that they come with vision, they come with a solid plan, and they must be able to show how they are going to execute it. Now, Sports Club Ground, 20, 30 years ago, would have never looked the way it's looking right now. Yes, it was good for the time that it was when it was built and when it was handed over to the community, but we are in a changing, modernizing, transforming society. And so we're seeing now a Mackenzie Stadium is not just a sports club ground. It is Mackenzie Stadium. So yes, the advancement and modernization is happening. We are seeing the synthetic track is almost completed also over on Wismore, right? International standard. We are seeing the minister recently visited the expansion to the Linden to Lethem Road, that 4-lane road. That will bring so much to Linden's economy, to transform how life and living is going to be here in Linden. We're having the construction of the 4-lane bridge. The bridge, the Westman Mackenzie Bridge, and they will be roundabout. I think they already signed contracts for the additional roundabout to start at both ends of the bridge, Wisma and Mackenzie. Linden is being transformed. And so as we celebrate, I want us to consider what it is that we are celebrating, where we came from, and where we are today, and where we expect to go or to be 5, 10 years down the road. Right. So look at what you're seeing before your eyes, the transformation, look at the changes, and what more do you think can be done? And what is the quality and level of work we expect from the leadership, the local leadership? Because let me say this, for many years, Courdel, a lot of the stifling of Linden was as a result of the local leadership. Right. Was as a result of the local leadership. And I must commend government, because a lot of times you hear them complaining and making noise that, oh, government making decisions and doing things without involving the local leadership. They have done that before. And what did it cost them? Delays. Oh, we need to do this assessment. Oh, we need to do this feasibility studies. Oh, we haven't considered this, and government has decided, okay, once we deal with the people, we're going direct to the people. We can get it done. And right. The first big transformation I would have seen was that transformational work in the valley with the footpaths and the concrete roads and drains and all of that. Right. And they approach the people. They call the Rasta men and women, they call the local residents and said, come on, this is what we want done. We ain't going to bring a big contractor into this area to do it. We want you do it and get your neighbor and your relative and your friend and y'all come and get this done. And it was done by the residents themselves. And the same is being done by many roads in Amelia's ward. And so my word to Lindeners, to residents of Linden, look and see what is happening. The transformation that we have seen in just 5 years, as against the 55 years, the more than 50 years that we were stifled. And you make your decision and make your mark and ensure you put the pressure on the local leadership to up their standard in their service delivery to you.
Gaspar, I know you got a busy day ahead of you. I have some stuff to get to myself. Plus, that's all the time you got on the program this morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to update the viewers, Lindeners, persons in the diaspora, persons in the region on what's happening there in Linden and some of the struggles and also the developments and the progress being made in Linden under this administration. And hopefully the council and its mayor gets on board with the developmental trust. Thanks again for being here. Continue good work. And hopefully we'll have you on the program again soon to continue to update us on what's happening up in Linden Region 10.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. And thank you for having me.
Take care, Gaspar. So that was the town clerk for the Linden Municipality, Lennox Gaspar. And if you all noticed during the show, I was trying my best to stay out of the comment section because I was seeing some foolishness that was itching me to respond to. But I wanted the town clerk to get his point across clearly and not be tainted by any other topic or issue at hand. But I cannot go without addressing, as you know, we have a daily clown on our show. You understand? A daily clown on our show. Guess who's here? None other than Mr. Dexter Ford. And this is the only comment I'm going to deal with in relation to Dexter Ford this morning. Because, and I say this to you, these comments aren't typed by Dexter Ford. Somebody is sending these comments to Dexter. The mere fact that they're put together so well, this is not Dexter. At no way, shape, or form. He got this kind of brain. But nevertheless, I wanted to address this one because I saw it and I felt like yes, Beige, how you apply for a contract, you register a business, you get a TIN, you get your NIS compliance, your GRE compliance, your NIS compliance, and then you go and you bid on contracts. You, at the beginning of the year, they have pre-qualified forms that you fill out so that you could get into contracting, right? So you could come back home and try a thing, Beige. You mean Barbados, you come back in, or you gone America? Come back here. Come back here. Yeah, so let me deal with this Dunce Dexter Ford. Now, this is his comment. Young people are being forced to commit crimes to feed their families under the mismanagement of the Jagdeo Ali PPPC corrupt government. According to the US State Department, Jagdeo Ali PPPC Guyana government is complicit in corruption and criminality. Now, let me just address this Dunce. He has to be extra thick in the skull to make such a statement. Any young person who engaging in crime right now is definitely does what they want to do. That's the road they want to go down. Like them two who get deal with at the Chinese in Hatfield Street. Absolutely no reason for it. The amount of jobs that are available now, we always hear persons saying they can't find work. Up to 2 or 3 days ago, I shared a video made by an Afro-Guyanese, right? Made by an Afro-Guyanese. And why I shared it, I wanted persons to understand that could you imagine this was a contractor looking for workers. He on site looking for workers. And he was lamenting the fact that the Guyanese are not coming out for work. So these Spanish people who in the community showing up to get to work. Now, again, I say to people, you may not find your dream job. You understand? Dexter Ford's dream job is to be actually paid to stand in front of GCOM and make himself a complete idiot so that we know there's nothing between his ears. But he's currently a counselor receiving a stipend, not a full salary. That's why he around the place in these minibuses hot. There's no AC in there. You're sweaty, Dexter. You're sweaty and smelly. But at the end of the day, you need to have some sort of income. So you mightn't find the job you want or you looking for in your first go round, but there are things out there for you to do. So that nonsense about people being forced to commit crimes to feed the family, what nonsense you talking? What nonsense you talking? That was the situation between 2015, more so when COVID hit under the coalition administration, where all the businesses were closed, persons didn't have no work to go to. You understand? The market closed down, everything closed down, and there was no plan by the idiots that surround Dexter Fort, you understand, to bring back economic activity and bring back the opening up of Guyanese society under those conditions. No plan whatsoever. You understand? And look at this. Look at this. But I want to cuss this banner. What the government got to do with that idiot? The first incident was of a personal nature. The second incident, based on information that has been privy to me, the police were under attack from unruly protesters. This idiot literally called what happened in Linden just the other day, in the same chat, if you go up and check, called it a peaceful protest. Imagine that's what he calling a peaceful protest. You wouldn't like to see what an unruly, fully scraped up protest is like under Dexter Fort. And that's to show you the kind of leadership these kind of people is offer. Dexter can't come up with an intelligent argument to back up the foolishness that he peddling around the place. You understand? He got to get people to prepare comments. He send them to he just paste them in the comment section. He can't. He can't. Look at the opportunities available to young people from education in relation to academics, technical vocational training. UG's free wretch. Y'all didn't do that. Y'all didn't do that. You understand? Listen. With all the Guyanese buying car, me want to hear what the majority of Guyanese doing. You're not the majority of Guyanese. You're a big-time counselor. You understand? So you should buy a scooter or something. I planning to sell me scooter. I could do a thing with it. I want to fix up the big bike. I plan to sell my scooter, Dexter. But boss man, you know my number, call me, man, and get a good deal. Don't fight up. This is your buy. Guys, look, I'm getting out of here. Tomorrow we're going to have either Miss Chase Green so that she can explain to you the level of stupidity displayed by Dexter Fort in this statutory meeting. You could understand how dunce this by dunce. You understand? Dunce this by dunce. He faced this like you know he dunce. Okay, you could see the blankness on Dexter's face when you look at it. Like, look at this. Look at it. Look at the profile photo. You can look at this man. Watch. You see stupidity on this man face. Ooh, wait, what? Majority of Guyanese traveling minibuses. That is the view of Jagdio. What? The majority of Guyanese travel in minibuses, but that is the view of Jagdio Ali, PVP corrupt government, of regular hard-working guys. You a cross, banner. You see how fast them vehicles selling out, them number plates changing a GRA. More persons have disposable income to buy vehicles. You don't. So don't group everybody like you. You're a sufferer, Dexter, and you will never elevate yourself to nothing of importance. I'm saying to you, Dexter Ford, right now where you are is the height of your career, a councillor for City Hall. You will never be nothing more at any point. You are a councillor for City Hall, and that is the pinnacle of what you will ever be. You understand? You can't be a minister of, but I don't call it PNC winning another elections. When? You understand? When, brother? So enjoy it, my boy. Right? Enjoy it, counselor. Right? And just hold a corner. Hold a corner. Stop coming here and spewing nonsense. Spewing nonsense. Or, Dexter, I'll give you this challenge here before I go. If you want us to have a debate, I am inviting you on this program, Dexter Ford. He's still here. This is the last comment. He's still here. So I don't hear me. Dexter, I am inviting you on this program to put forward the points that you make in the comments. And let's have a discussion, right? If indeed you're not a dunce and you can represent your views and opinions on the government and the city council, please, I'm inviting you on the program, Dexter Ford, for us to have a talk. Are you going to accept my invitation? Please let me know what date you're available. You don't have to come anywhere. We'll send a link to you. You just sign in and we go. Dexter, answer me before I end this live. Will you accept my invitation? No, Dexter, you're a scrape. I never said all the people in the minibus are scrapes. You're a scrape and you're smelly. As you, I passed next time, smell bad at City Hall the other day. Well, not the other day, a couple months back. I'm not talking about every Guyanese. Huh? I'm not talking about every Guyanese. I'm talking about you. You are smelly because you're usually standing in the sun waiting long on a minibus. And the sun is hot in Georgetown. And I passed you on the road a couple times. I said I would have stopped and give a drop, but then I said, me want you left the worries in me car. You understand? But it's you I'm talking to. So I'm asking Dexter quickly before I end the live that will you accept my invitation on the program so we can have a discussion live, not in the chat and I responding and you can't respond. I want to do it live. Let me know quickly. Dexter, I see Marisha Sami commenting, Pam Singh commenting, Philip Diablo commenting, but not Dexter. Dexter, please respond. Dex, nothing. This is Dexter's last comment. You are unworthy and smelly, Dexter. Is you the one? I didn't see every Guyanese on the road sweating badly. Huh? It's you talking to. I'm extending this life to. When it comes to look, watch. Anyway, people, I gone. Dexter's a dunce and can't defend himself. Y'all see it right there. You understand? Dexter's a dunce that can't defend himself. Because of you, I gotta start coming back to statutory so I could see it daily. So if you want to tell me anything, you could tell me in front of my face. We gotta do it on the live. But champ, I know you with a back down, you know. You can't mix or mingle with sense. You have to have sense to deal with people with sense. And what? You don't mix with slave catchers. See? You see? Can't defend himself. Can't speak to his ideals or his ideology, as Dr. King would talk about. Dunce. So he got resort to calling me a slave catcher. Me. Dunce. And guys, this is why we're where we are today. And I'll leave you with this song as we head out. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place. And as I usually say before I go, it's all about peace. It's all about love. It's all about one Guyana.
No way, AFC, not again. With the same trickery, no way, PNC and AFC. Election thief is all them know. Like how Auntie Cathy giving blow. Contracts gone to she own company. This country can't take it no more. Oh no. Just like how the Russians vanish. Like the SOP, gone in a flash. Patterson they smiling on TV. Talking sweet while cutting deal easy. Giving contracts like it's nothing real. Saying scale at work, but what's the deal? Up to now, no scale in sight. Sherrod disappearing at the night. 5 million gone from Chronicle. Like it take with funds and ride a miracle. No way, no BNC, no way, AFC, not again. With the same trickery, no way, PNC and AFC. Election thief is all them know. Like how Auntie Cathy giving blow. Them run we try but still want more. We tired now, we can't take no more. 5 years of them run this place. Bring nothing but shame and disgrace. Corruption full up in every case. And tax raise up at a wicked pace. Tax on school, tax on light. Water bill giving granny fright. Even the jackass can't get tax. Them not care about poor man's back. Now them come back with team sanctioned. Gold smuggle and tax evasion action. 10,000 kilo them can't explain. And 50 mil gone down the drain. PNC and AOC no credibility. Them play games with weak stability. Only one position for themselves. Don't care about we ask. Nothing about the blank checks. Nigel business with eggs and well set. Election thief is